New York Giants fans, I hate to be the one to do it because I know that you guys have been living your best lives over these last over this last week. You've been riding the highs of a really great win, like nothing to take away from it. Right? You're riding the highs of a really great win. You're feeling good about, where you are as a team, but I must, because somebody must. I must be the one to come on and just say, "Hey, my friends, pump the brakes, right? Hold on, just a little bit. We don't have to go overboard with what we're seeing and what we think we have here in New York. We can just enjoy the ride because there are going to be ups and downs, like in every roller coaster." I'm Coach Gene Clemons, and I have a giant issue. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of A Giant Issue. I am Coach Gene Clemons, New York Giants on SI. That is where you get all of your New York Giants news and information from. So, go over there and check out everything that we're doing, especially like on game days. Tons of information, tons of articles, like before the game, during the game, after the game. You want to be able to check in. You obviously want to come over here to the New York Giants on that side, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, make sure that you know when I go live. And I've been trying to go live for every halftime of a New York Giants game. I will once again be there at halftime. Although I'll be in, New Orleans. Well, not New Orleans. I'll be in Baton Rouge or close to Baton Rouge at the time. But I'll be locked in. I'll be ready to come to you guys and talk about the first half of the Giants game versus the Broncos, which should be a doozy. That's really where I want to start. But before I get there, I just want to say this about Daniel Jones. I don't like how people are trying to double back and say that the New York Giants ruined Daniel Jones. I think it's completely unfair to Daniel Jones, and I'll tell you why. Because by saying that the Giants ruined him, it's saying that he never grew. It's saying that he never got any better. And clearly, he's grown. Clearly, he has become better at some things. Now, I still see a lot of the exact same flaws that doomed him in New York. And I hope that they don't begin to exacerbate themselves over in Indy. But to act as if the only reason that he's having success is because some other coaching staff got a hold of him, did the exact same thing that he was able to do in New York, and now is having success, is crazy. Like, no, he got better. Don't disrespect his work, his growth, his process by trying to reduce it to simply, oh, well, they screwed him up. Nah, that's not fair. But shout out to DJ. Shout out to Daniel Jones. Shout out to Indianapolis. Shout out to the Colts. Shout out to all of those fans out there. I would still be cautious on how I move forward with Daniel Jones. I don't know if I'm ready to drop another another 9-figure deal in front of him. Like, I don't know if I'm ready to do that. Are you? And so, I would be cautiously optimistic about what you have in Indy. But he's still young enough to where this could be his Baker Mayfield, right? This could be his Baker Mayfield move. And if it becomes Baker Mayfield, just like Baker grew and got better, got more consistent, Daniel Jones would have grown, gotten better, gotten more consistent. See how that works? I do. I say when I say whoa, and when I say you guys are speeding, you need to pump the brakes, it's because a lot of the narratives that I'm hearing come out right now are self-fulfilling narratives. They're narratives of convenience to make you feel good about whatever you thought was the positives, right? But it doesn't highlight the negatives. And not that it's saying it has to, but it doesn't even give mention to the negatives. And in order to get better, you have to address the negatives in order for the positives to become abundant, right? So the New York Giants played Denver this week. They played Denver. If you know anything about me and my content outside of the New York Giants, you know that I don't play people when they play Denver. Like in fantasy, I sit people when they play Denver. Like I set Chase. I set Jamar Chase when he played Denver. And I'm the person that says you never sit a guy who is a starter, who you know is going to get high volume, right? But I sit him. I sat Garrett Wilson. I've sat all the greats that he's played because over there in Denver, they have a guy that I refer to as the boogeyman. PS2. And I refer to him as the boogeyman because, like, he comes in and everything goes haywire. But it's not just him. The entire secondary for the Denver Broncos is good. And as a byproduct of a really talented secondary, their pass rush is really good. Their pass rush is phenomenal. They have multiple guys, not only just getting to the quarterback and causing a hurry or causing a pressure, but actually sacking the quarterback. I saw some stats somewhere, and I wish I knew off the top of my head who had posted because I want to give them credit for it on X. But no, my heart's in the right place. But on the thing, the stat says that Abdul Carter has 0 sacks, but he's tied, I think, for the most pressures or the most hurries in the league, right? Like, that is a crazy stat. And again, I told you guys, I'm not going to hold him to the revised standard that you put based off what you see. I'm going to hold him to the elite level status you guys said that he was on over Kayvon Thibodeaux and probably over Brian Burns. And to this point, the production does not match that. He's had a lot of impact. Yes, absolutely. He's had a lot of impact. But you guys are you're trying to make excuses for why he's not getting sacks. And there are no excuses. You either get to the quarterback, you're either someone who has the knack for getting to and bringing down the quarterback, or you don't. Does that mean that I don't think he can develop that? He can get there and is that me saying that I don't understand why he's not getting to the quarterback? I do understand why he's not bringing the quarterback down, right? I know why. The question is, do you guys know why? Because I know why. Well, tell us why. I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I want to. There's so many people out here now who claim to understand the game, who claim to know what like how this game goes and what makes this great and what makes that great, that I almost don't want to give it to you. I want you to be able to tell me. But we're not live, so I can't do that. But the reason why he doesn't have as many sacks or have any sacks, right, is because other people are beating him to the punch. It's the same reason why Dexter Lawrence had so many sacks early in the season before he was injured last year. He was just beating the other pass rushers to the punch, or they were flushing the sack right to Dexter Lawrence. Right? That's why I think a better metric is to explore team sack numbers, because there are certain sacks that, while Abdul Carter doesn't get credit for the sack, he's the reason why it was a sack. Right? He's the reason why it was a sack. And so I appreciate that as a guy who looks at the game intimately. But as people who told me that Kayvon Thibodeaux was bad because he only had a certain amount of sacks, you can't now come back and tell me, well, but look at all of the pressures. Look at all the hurries. Because you never did that with Kayvon Thibodeaux. And now he's become an absolute monster, a guy who is a real legitimate two-way defender. He can rush the passer. He can play against the run. He can set the edge. All of the things that you would want out of a defensive end edge rusher. All of it. And now that you have to pay him, right now you have to pay him. Whereas maybe if the fan base was a little kinder, if the administration didn't make it seem as if he wasn't getting the job done, which is why they went out and traded for and signed a big name D-end edge rusher, which is why they went out in the draft and took an edge rusher with a top 3 pick, right? Like, all of those things have to be in the back of the mind of Kayvon Thibodeaux going, man, I don't know if they love me like that. So when it's time for contract negotiations, just show me the money. That's it. Like, don't give me no song and dance. Don't tell me no lies. Just show me the money. He's made himself so much money this season already. And if he puts together a full 17 games where he gets close to double-digit sacks, but he continues to play the rest of the game the way he's playing it, outside of them dropping them into coverage, I still don't know why people are doing this. Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, but you're gonna have to pay him. But yeah, y'all were speeding on Abdul Carter. So now you got to hit the brakes. You're speeding on Jackson Dart and you're speeding on Cam Skattebo, right? Because both of those guys are fun. They're fun stories. They're good stories. But like, what are we saying? Right? Like, what are we saying? Because I'm thinking about all of these. I'm thinking about all of these things, and I'm going, like Jackson Dart against the New Orleans Saints. We can't just act as if that didn't happen. So I've heard really cool stats, really fun stats, right? Fun stats like, oh, Jackson Dart is the first quarterback to lead his team to 3 consecutive touchdown drives to start his career. That's great. I don't want to take anything away from that. But when one of those starts ends in you turning the ball over a billion times, right? Like, should I really be impressed that you scored a touchdown at the beginning of the game during the time where the script is there? We've talked about this on the live, right? We talked about this on the Giant Issue Live. They have done a really good job of scoring on the scripted part of the play sheet. He has done a really good job of managing the scripted part of the play sheet. But then things got squirrely in that New Orleans game. And so the Eagles game for me doesn't erase the New Orleans Saints game. If anything, it makes the New Orleans Saints game even more confusing. Oh, I forgot. Y'all just blamed Darius Slayton for that, right? He dropped all these passes. He only dropped one. It was a really hard pass to catch. Most of us can't catch that with anyone on the field. If we had to lay out and stretch like that, he had to do it with bodies. I digress. We can't forget about the Cam Skattebo that puts the ball on the ground. We can't only ever celebrate the bowling ball, right? The bowling ball wannabe Bronco Nagurski, wannabe Mike Allstott style back hitting people with his head. Like they were doing some boneheaded stuff in that game, man. Jackson Dart diving, and going and like driving, trying to put his head into someone after coming out from the concussion tent. Like you could chop these things up to youthful exuberance, right? You can chop it up to youthful exuberance, but at the end of the day, if you're going to do that, the results better continue to be what they are. But trying to say, hey, we've never seen this out of a quarterback here in New York, every time you say that, you sound crazy. Is Jackson Dart the best scrambling quarterback you've ever had? Well, time will be seen. It will remain to be seen, right? Because Daniel Jones was able to put up yards on the ground. It's interesting because I said at the beginning of the season that Jackson Dart gave me Daniel Jones vibe, that this season gave me 2022 season vibes, even though the outcomes of the games haven't been the same. I'm talking about like Jackson Dart's performances and then the statistics behind those performances gives me very 2022 vibes. Yeah, and that's okay. But the last guy didn't grow from 2022 on. And that was the problem. And so if Jackson Dart can grow, then I think that we've got the makings of something good. If he can't grow, if he doesn't get any better, right? If he stays or he remains stagnant, if he remains how he is right now, he will get discovered, he will get exposed, and you guys will turn on him. That's just a foregone conclusion. Like, we don't have to act as if that's not going to happen because we've seen it happen before. We've totally seen it happen before where you guys were all in on a dude and then all of a sudden you were out. Like you were out on the guy. It was that quick. It was over before it began. It was all a dream. And so I'm not going to act as if you guys are not above doing something like that. I've seen you do it before. Like I've seen it. I've seen it, right? I've seen it. So I think that, we got to pump the brakes on how we're talking about him being this transformational player. I think we have to pump the brakes on this, oh, he's got swagger. Remember Baker Mayfield in Cleveland. because a lot of the Jackson Dart stuff gives me Baker Mayfield in Cleveland vibes. That was not a good Baker Mayfield. He had some statistically great. He had one statistically great season, maybe two that were good, right? But overall, that cosplaying gets old. And quite honestly, if we're keeping it a bean, like if Jackson Dart looked a lot different, we'd be having a different conversation about what that looks like. Because it wouldn't be called swagger. It would be called arrogance. It would be called, oh, he's not a leader. That's not how a quarterback is supposed to behave. All these things that we've heard other quarterbacks be ridiculed and criticized about, right? All of the things that we've heard other quarterbacks be ridiculed and criticized about. We have not heard him have to deal with that. We have not seen it. And why haven't we seen it? It's still early. Wait. That's why I said you're speeding. Because if the wins don't continue to come, you'll turn. It'll become, hey, he's got to lead better. Especially if he's the reason why the wins aren't coming. If he's the reason why the wins are fewer and far between, he won't get the pass. He won't get the pass that he's getting right now. I think it's interesting that we bring up the fact that Cam Skattebo has usurped Tyrone Tracy Jr. as the running back one, even though Tyrone Tracy Jr. did nothing to lose his job other than get injured after a decent run. And by the way, he's lost his job, and Cam Skattebo has some fumbling stuff on his jacket now, the same way that Tyrone Tracy Jr. has some fumbling stuff on his jacket. I don't know why they're still holding on to Devin Singletary if Tyrone Tracy Jr. is healthy, and now he was the one, but now Cam Skattebo is the one, and Tyrone Tracy's the Jr. is the two. Why are we still holding on to Devin Singletary? What does he know about Brian Daboll that keeps him employed? I wonder that. Like, what does he know about this dude that allows him to keep cashing these checks? Shout out to you, Devin Singletary. I don't want you to be without a job. I just don't know what the use of you here is. I don't know why the Giants still have two quarterbacks that are veterans that could start somewhere or help some team as an emergency, like as the backup quarterback. They're really here to be mentors. Okay, I guess. Right? I guess. Cool. But when the Bengals were calling around, I would have been shopping some guys. Hey, man, I got a Jameis Winston over here for you. Want a Jameis Winston? I got Jameis Winston. Hey, I got a Russell Wilson over here. He's nowhere near as old as that guy you're trying to get from Cleveland. I got a Russell Wilson. I'd have been trying to get them off. Not because they have giant contracts that I'm trying to unload, but because I need assets, because I want to build depth. I want to not have my fan base go into a panic and call all of my wide receivers ASS because one guy got hurt. And then when the second guy got hurt, they went, good for you. You can't make this stuff up. I just think we got to pump the brakes, right? I've heard some praise for the defense that Shane Bowen has put out on the field. And I would like to remind everyone that that defense is still getting ran on. That defense is still getting thrown all over the yard. The difference is that the players are doing a really good job of executing what to me is a flawed scheme for their talent base, like for what they have. We've also seen that Shane Bowen has changed his stripes a little bit. Man, seemed like a lot of blitzing going on at one point in time. Seemed like a lot of man-to-man being played. Felt very Wink Martindale-ish. But apparently Coach Wink couldn't stop the run, and that's why he fell out of favor with Brian Daboll, right? Like that's what the story says. That's what the story will tell you, that they fell out of favor, right? Like that it was because of whatever the thing is, right? They're going to tell you that that's what did it. And I'm here to just say, hey, I don't know what did it. All I know is it's done. Right? Like I don't know what did it, but I know it's done. And to me, I look at this thing from the standpoint of do whatever you have to do in order to get the job done. So I gotta give Shane Bowen the props in saying, hey, if blitzing and then playing cover one behind it is getting the job done enough to win, then yeah, cool, awesome. But that's not the identity that you came in here with. And I'm still seeing people run on this defense. I'm still seeing people throw on this defense. This offense is not the greatest offense. So it's going to be put on the offense to try to get something going versus this Denver Broncos defense if they want to have success. That's all. That's where I believe it is. If you want to have success, it's going to be on the offense to try to get something going against the defense. Because I think the defense would be okay because the Broncos offense isn't the most dynamic offense in the world right now. Not bad. It's not dynamic. I don't know. I just want everybody to relax, because if this game goes poorly, and there's a good chance, by the way, Giants fans, you should prepare yourself. There's a chance that this game could go left. And all of a sudden, we could be looking at New Orleans all over again. There's no need to then come online, go in your groups and go doom and gloom. Everybody's ASS. The quarterbacks regress. This Brian Daboll doesn't know what he's doing. Blah, blah. Joe Shane needs to be fun. There's no reason to do all of that. You can just go, hey, they're still learning. They're still figuring it out. But I'm going to ride with them until they do, because the highs are a lot of fun and the lows are really miserable. It's kind of what you get with young players, right? And that's who the Giants are dependent on. They're dependent on young players on offense, some young players on defense. That's what happens. The highs are here. The lows way down there. I'm excited to see what happens with a week and a half in tow to get ready for a team. I think it'll be good, but we'll have to see. I'm gonna be cautiously optimistic. I'm gonna hope for the best. I'm gonna prepare for the worst. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time I have. New York Giants on SI. That's where you get all of your New York Giants news and information from. Make sure you go over there, check everything out we're doing. Come on over to the YouTube channel. Hit like, hit subscribe. Got to get them subscriber numbers up, ladies and gentlemen. We're trying to eat out here, right? Until next time, I'm Coach Gene Clemons, and I have a giant issue.